Welcome to this explainer. If you run a business, you have absolutely lost sleep over a bad Google review at some point, right? It happens to the best of us. But today, we're unpacking the complex, data-driven ecosystem of those reviews. We're going to discover how specific KPIs literally dictate your actual business outcomes. We'll look at how performance metrics connect real customer feedback with measurable success, and why relying on just one number, well, it simply isn't enough anymore.
Okay, let's kick things off with a pretty foundational question. Is a perfect 5-star rating really enough to win? Because honestly, in today's landscape, that basic star rating is just the tip of the iceberg. So many businesses obsess over getting that pristine 5.0, but the data tells a much deeper story about how search ecosystems and, real people actually evaluate your credibility.
So here is our roadmap for today. 1. The star rating illusion. 2. Algorithms versus human buyers. 3. Decoding search visibility KPIs. 4. Driving trust and conversions. 5. Avoiding the pitfalls. And finally, 6. Building a balanced strategy. Section 1. The star rating illusion beyond the basic metric.
Think of it this way. A perfect 5.0 rating isn't some magic bullet, especially if you lack the volume and detail to back it up. Sure, the average star rating is absolutely the most visible trust signal out there, and higher ratings definitely correlate with better click-through rates. But here's the thing, ratings alone completely lack context. If a local restaurant has 5 stars but only, say, 3 reviews, you're going to be a lot more skeptical than if you see a competitor with a 4.8 rating that's backed by 300 incredibly detailed reviews, right? Volume and detail provide that undeniable social proof. A simple, perfect number just can't do that. It ultimately means more customers walking through your door because they see a proven, tested track record.
Moving on to Section 2, Algorithms versus Human Buyers, the Dual Influence.
So your reputation management strategy absolutely has to satisfy Google's ranking systems and real consumer decision-making at the exact same time. You're essentially speaking to 2 entirely different audiences at once. On one side, we've got algorithmic visibility. Search engines are constantly scraping your reviews to determine local relevance, prominence, and entity credibility. Basically, that's Google trying to mathematically prove that you're a real, trustworthy business. But on the exact opposite side, you have human perception. These are your actual, living, breathing customers who are looking for reliability, authenticity, and absolute proof of your service quality before they spend their hard-earned money.
To actually succeed here, you have to play both sides of the board. Take metrics like review volume and review recency. Those heavily skew toward algorithmic visibility. They're the engines that actually drive your local SEO growth. Meanwhile, sentiment distribution and detailed review depth, well, those are what human beings care about to gain confidence in their buying decision. And sitting right there in the middle, influencing both visibility and trust, is your average star rating. You literally cannot ignore one side for the other if your goal is to completely dominate your local market.
Which brings us to Section 3. Decoding search visibility KPIs, signals for Google's ranking systems.
If your primary objective is local search growth, you have to prioritize these 4 visibility signals. Imagine for a second how a bot views your business. Review volume? That demonstrates your sheer market presence and legitimacy. Review recency proves your doors are actually still open and that your customer experiences are current. Let me tell you, an outdated profile loses its algorithmic weight incredibly fast. Then you have keyword relevance, which reinforces your specific business attributes. And finally, review velocity, which shows the algorithm that your business is consistently active over time.
For example, when a customer naturally leaves a review mentioning specific phrases like emergency plumber in Manchester or vegan cafe in Bristol, they are literally handing you SEO gold. Google systems use these natural keyword integrations to figure out exactly when and where you should appear in local search results. It massively, and I mean massively, strengthens your contextual relevance for those exact search intents.
Let's zoom in on review velocity for a second. That's the rate at which you acquire new reviews over time. Search engines interpret a steady, consistent flow of reviews as a sign of strong operational health. Think of it kind of like a feast or famine situation. If you get 50 reviews in one single week and then it's just absolute crickets for 6 months, that inconsistency looks incredibly unnatural to an algorithm. It can actually harm your search prominence because it signals a total lack of continuity.
All right, Section 4, Driving Trust and Conversions, Signals for Human Buyers.
Now, let's talk about what actually convinces a real person to buy. A healthy sentiment distribution isn't about having zero negativity.
Actually, a profile with 70% positive, 20% neutral, and 10% negative feedback, especially when that negative feedback is addressed constructively, is often perceived as far more authentic and trustworthy than a flawless 5.0. People know nobody's perfect. How you publicly handle that 10% negative feedback speaks absolute volumes to a prospective buyer who's just trying to figure out if you're reliable.
And when potential customers read phrases like "I booked again," "problem solved quickly," or "highly recommend," it directly reduces their purchase hesitation. This right here is the absolute gold standard for conversion KPIs. It provides specific, experience-based proof that buying from you is a safe and smart decision. It's directly translating customer satisfaction into measurable business value and real revenue.
Optimizing these specific conversion metrics is what creates maximum buyer confidence. Rich, detailed review depth really helps reduce uncertainty. I mean, long-form reviews are far more trusted than generic short comments. And your response metrics, like how consistently and quickly you reply to feedback, signal to future buyers that you are fully accountable. It proves your operational efficiency and shows that, hey, if something goes wrong, you actually care and you're going to make it right.
Next up is Section 5, avoiding the pitfalls, risk exposure, and limitations.
Because relying blindly on data without context can really damage your strategy. You need to keep a very close eye on your negative review ratio. That's the percentage of 1- or 2-star ratings you receive. If this number starts creeping up, you need to treat it as a glaring, flashing warning light on your dashboard. It points to underlying operational issues or service inconsistencies that need immediate fixing, not just some marketing or PR spin. Catching this early is absolutely vital for assessing your brand's overall risk exposure.
You also really have to account for key limitations in the data itself. Take selection bias, for instance. Reviews often only highlight the extremes, people who are completely furious or absolutely thrilled. Then you have fake or manipulated reviews, which can totally distort your credibility signals. Plus, customer expectations differ wildly across different industries. And always remember that just a small batch of negative reviews can cause short-term volatility that temporarily tanks your ratings. So you always need to integrate this review data with broader metrics, like your actual customer retention rate, to get a truly accurate picture of your business's health.
And finally, Section 6, building a balanced strategy, reputation management framework.
By implementing a simple 5-step framework, you systematically take control of how your reputation drives your business outcomes. Step 1, track your visibility through volume, recency, and velocity. Step 2, evaluate those trust signals like sentiment and review depth. Step 3, analyze your conversion indicators through mentions of things like repeat business. Step 4, manage your risk exposure by closely monitoring that negative review ratio. And Step 5, track all these trends over time so you can catch seasonal patterns or slight declines way before they ever turn into a full-blown crisis.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want you to ask yourself what your metrics are truly saying. You've seen the data. You now know for a fact that algorithms and humans are both reading your digital footprint, and they are searching for vastly different signals. The big question is, when they look at your profile today, are they seeing the full compelling story of your business? Or are you still just relying on an empty 5-star illusion? Take control of your online reputation today at www.clearmyname.org.